Hey, Benny.
Hey, Sabrina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm just letting in like the steering committee, if you will, right now.
Gotcha.
While I get everything set up.
Mm-hmm.
And Benny, you're gonna have slides, right?
I am.
Okay, let me make you a co-host right now.
Okay.
And will you just make sure that you can share your, well, actually, I think I might need to do something. 1 second.
Yeah, I want to test that.
Okay, you should be able to do it now.
Okay. And do you see them?
I do. I don't see it in presentation mode, but I see it in Power, like that you're in PowerPoint.
Yeah, I gotta move this bar around so when that happens, I can actually see it. Yeah. There we go. All right.
Perfect.
Cool.
And in the waiting room. Okay, let me get my thing up and running. Then we can, well, lots of people are here early. It's much anticipated.
I see. Yeah, we got nearly 100 people subscribed. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Wallace is here.
That's a good sign.
It is. Nice to see you, Janice.
Nice seeing you. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. And there's
Good.
Mr. Good. No pun intended.
Sorry, I'm just trying to juggle where I can put the run of show and where I can put the presentation and all that stuff. So that all is good. Hang tight, everyone. Hey, Wallace.
He doesn't show that he's muted, but.
Oh, he's still connecting, that's why.
Hey, Sabrina.
Wallace, are you going to be showing any slides?
Nothing other than my gorgeous face.
Who was the second person who is going to be showing slides?
I think only Ben. No, not I think. Benny is the only person showing slides.
Okay, got it. Let me do.
What I was trying to do is sign in from my phone also.
Okay.
And just so you see two Wallaces on there, but for whatever reason, it's not working. So.
Got it.
No problem. So.
Okay. So, does everyone see the presentation that I put up?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We're telling,
yes.
For the 100th anniversary of the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce.
Awesome. So I'm going to start letting everyone in then, because we have a bunch of people in the waiting room.
Okay.
And we'll start. Benny and I will graciously host them.
Perfect.
It doesn't matter. Please get back over here. You're so bad. Yes, pull a chair in that corner. That corner? Mm-hmm. We'll have to have a different practice event, Sabrina, and help me figure out, for whatever reason, I can't get it on my phone at the same time I get it on my computer.
Are you
Really?
W.
Are you logged in on the same login?
I think so, yeah.
So that might be why. It might be like, but Wallace is already logged on the computer.
Ah, so I should log in from my home one. Okay, I'll worry about that next time.
Yeah.
No sweat. God, Sabrina, you're so wonderful. Don't you wish all men in your world were as appreciative? You know?
You should spread that word. I'm so ready to mingle.
You're wonderful. You know?
Like, I'm vaccinated. We're good.
There we go. That's exactly. That's the new card. Okay.
Yeah, My buzz term is I'm vaxxed to the max.
So Benny, is
Yes, sir.
that right in your background?
Mhm.
That is a picture of View 53 and Max Building.
Mhm.
We'll talk. Are the 22 participants, are they in?
Yep, everyone is all 20, well, there's 23 now.
Okay.
All 22 are here. Everyone is on mute except Benny and you right now, and me, obviously.
All right, so I'm trying to get
I see a message in the chat.
We have a large crowd coming.
Say it again, Kathy.
We have a large bunch coming, and
Yeah.
the link was just sent a few minutes ago, so some people are probably looking around because I got a couple of phone calls about that. Just
It's still early, so.
right.
Seven.
It's about close to 7.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Hi Kathy, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing? How's everybody?
Good, good. I'm just trying to enhance my
Paula's
screen.
too. Janice is here.
Joyce Fuhrer is here.
Is here. All
Mhm.
kinds of people are here. Joyce, some of the people who were interviewed, board members for both groups.
Yep.
And other participants, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I see Howard is on here, which is so exciting. I'm glad Howard is out and about and
Yes,
good to see you, Howard.
he's on our list to be interviewed eventually.
I see our board president, Troy. This is what, who used to do that? It's Romper Room. And those of you who remember Romper Room,
Yeah.
I see Troy, and I see Mark, and I see Jane and Roger. I see Elaine Smith. I see Joyce Foyer. Who else do I see?
Matt Sitz.
Matt. I see Tony Tia Lawson.
Matthew Sitz.
Jones.
Matthew.
Pardon me. Matthew.
Okay, here's the one I see. Rivka Hozinski. I love that. I don't even know who Rivka Hozinski is, but I love the name. So yeah, it's a good name. I see Paula Jones on. I see Allison Martin. Gabrielle, welcome, welcome. So that's for those of you who truly remember Romper Room. She was so amazing because she made me believe that she was really looking in at me. She never said Wallace, but I assumed she could see me also.
That kind of dates you, Wallace.
Definitely dates me.
I dates me too. I do remember Romper Room.
So Jack Spicer might not admit it, but Jack remembers Romper Room. So go ahead, you know, to the 36.
I also remember Romper Room, so.
My sister, Janice, my sister watched that show.
Oh, okay. So we're probably closer than age. Okay, I got you.
I'm about, I forget, I'm 2.5 or 3 years older than my sister. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, she watched it. I didn't.
I don't know about you guys. I was in diapers, so I barely remember.
Joyce raises the question that, is anyone else having sound problems? I am not. I hear everyone clearly. Joyce, if you're having sound problems. So Joyce, I think it is you. Everyone seems to be logging in that they can hear things clearly. We have 1 minute. We have 1 minute to start time, so we're at 41 people. For those who are just joining, I want to congratulate Kathy, Janice, Lala or Layla?
Lala.
Lala, like the Delphonics. La 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 la, Lala. Gotcha. It is 7:03, and according to our schedule, it is absolutely time to open this incredible opportunity and begin tonight's evening. I am Wallace Good. I'm the Executive Director of the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce, and we have a number of things that are going to be occurring tonight, from videos to slideshow to live presentation to an introduction to two of Hyde Park's oldest and longest establishing organizations. So you guys didn't come on board to hear me, you came on board to hear stories. So before we go into the stories, I think it's important for you to understand who is hosting tonight's event and who is presenting this. At a later time, I'll get back to you and tell you about all the people behind the scenes. But at this point, I want to turn it over to the leadership of the Hyde Park Historic Society and the leadership of the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. I'm asking everyone else to mute themselves so that there's no background noise. And I'm asking Janice and Troy to take the stage. Da-da-da-da-da. You're on.
Thank you, Wallace. Good evening. I'm Janice Knox, and I'm president of the Hyde Park Historical Society. On behalf of the Historical Society, it is really our pleasure to participate in tonight's event. Congratulations to the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce on this important milestone, their 100th anniversary. And also special thanks goes out to the event organizers. And I look forward to the presentations that are included tonight. Enjoy.
And Troy, on behalf of the Chamber.
I want to welcome everyone on behalf of the Chamber. We've been looking forward to this event for some time. Special thanks to the Hyde Park Historical Society for working with us to make the event happen this evening. Hope you enjoy your time with us. Thank you for joining us.
As you all know, it takes a lot of people and a lot of organizations to make an event like this happen. I'm going to throw the ball to Kathy and Lala to get an understanding of who some of our sponsors are and what we're going to be doing for the next hour or so. Kathy and Lala, it's on you.
You're muted, Kathy.
Kathy, you got to unmute.
I'm sorry. We were asked to mute earlier and I forgot. I'm Kathy Huff, and Lala and I are co-chairs of the Oral History Committee and the Oral History Project for the Hyde Park Historical Society. And every year we do a program similar to this in oral history where people can come in person and tell stories about a specific theme. And so Lala, you can talk about that for us because it was originally her idea and we've been doing this for over a decade together.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Briefly, I'll just explain that Hyde Park Kenwood Stories is an oral history program where everyone is invited to come and share a short story about a Hyde Park memory. We have had general Hyde Park Kenwood stories where people could just come share any memory, and we've also had specific topics, including urban renewal, the parks of Hyde Park, faith communities of Hyde Park, the 150th anniversary of St. Thomas the Apostle, the 125th anniversary of University Church. Those are just some of the topics that we've had over the years.
And so this year, our committee decided, we had several topics, and we decided to honor or commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Chamber because last year was actually the anniversary year, but everybody went through the pandemic. So we didn't have our regular Hyde Park Kenwood Stories program, and Wallace and company did not have their regular programming to commemorate or celebrate their anniversary. So we thought we would help them kick that off this year, even though it's a year later. But anyway, it's been our pleasure, and we have 8 people total on our committee, and we've video recorded 6 different long long-term owners of businesses in Hyde Park, and we're going to enjoy that. And the format is this: we'll have two videos shown first, then people who have signed up to tell a story will go in between sets of two videos. So there'll be 6 of them in total. And then if people are interested in telling a story who haven't signed up in advance, please put your name in the chat, okay? Because we will take you towards the end. And Lala is now our timekeeper, so she can explain the procedure for that. Okay, Lala.
Okay, for the people who have signed up to tell a story, you will have how many minutes, Kathy? 1 minute or 2 minutes?
Two.
Okay, two minutes to share a story about a memory of a Hyde Park business.
Or the chamber, if you've had wonderful experiences. And so what are you going to do about timing, Lala? Tell us.
We're going to have a timer, and when the timer goes off, that means your time is up.
And you'll let them know that, right?
Yes, I sure will.
Okay, so you all put on your thinking caps, because actually you can say a lot in 2 minutes. And prior to our videos, Benny Curry has worked very hard with a couple other people, Phil Moy and others. I think Janice and I helped him as well, find some wonderful slides. And so, Benny, you're on first to kick off this program. So we want to congratulate, we also at Oral History Committee want to congratulate the Chamber on its 100th anniversary.
All righty, just a sec here.
Perfect.
So like Kathy said, I'm Benny Curry. I'm the owner of NBC Financial Strategies. And I am a board member for the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. And I chair our membership committee. And we are proud to be one of the oldest business associations in Chicago. So our centennial celebration is really sort of a surreal moment in time, because when you think about it, we actually turned 100 last year. We had to wait a year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we got our start a century ago during the waning days of the Spanish flu pandemic. So, you know, go figure. But tonight's title is A Tale of Two Chambers, which kind of sounds like the title to a movie. And I'm going to explain to you why. So back in the late 1800s, business owners banded together to enhance or promote their business and economic interests by forming associations. And in 1920, we got our start as the Hyde Park Businessmen's Association. 2 years later, we merged with the 55th Street Businessmen's Association, and we incorporated that name in 1928. Now, back during this time, 55th Street really was the main street of Hyde Park, a distinction that today belongs to the 53rd Street business corridor that you see in Mark Monahan's photograph over my shoulder. And you know, there was also a 53rd Street Businessmen's Association, probably right around the time that this photo was taken. And in 1939, we got rid of the gender distinction, if you will, and changed our name to the Hyde Park Business and Professional Association, a title that we held on to for nearly 50 years until 1985, when we became who we are today, the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. So over time, as the chamber evolved, so did the business community of Hyde Park and the greater Hyde Park community as well. And businesses did what they could to cater to the needs of the local residents with consumer and personal services and retail, dining experiences, nightlife, of course, and entertainment. So flashing forward to the late 50s, actually the period between 1958 and 1970, that was an era that was known as urban renewal. Some people refer to it as urban removal, but I'm not going to get into all the details behind that because from whatever perspective you come from, that period of time was really, a transformative, era, if you will. It had a really profound impact on the community and the businesses as well, because businesses were displaced and they relocated. You're looking here at the evolution of the Hyde Park Shopping Center footprint. This is a 53rd Street business corridor then and now. And this change contributed to the development of Harper Court, which, as many of you know, has had its own urban renewal in recent times. So whether it was a new business venture like the small Cheval that's going to be coming to 53rd Street soon to take over a space that once was occupied by Kingleberry and before that Emma G's, or an older establishment rather, like the Valois, which gave itself a new look. Change has been a constant when it comes to life in Hyde Park, for the most part. Not when it comes to the Hyde Park Bank building, because as you can see on the left, this is the bank building dominating the landscape of the 53rd Street business corridor in the 1920s, and it's doing the same thing today in 2021. Maybe with a little bit more competition, but generally, the more some things have changed, the more things have kind of remained the same with the Hyde Park Bank, and I think that's pretty cool. So, like I said earlier, though, the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce is proud to be one of the oldest business associations in the city of Chicago, and we're even more proud, though, to be an organization that started as a businessmen's association, to be experiencing a really a lot of growth when it comes to women-owned businesses who are joining our association. People like Dewana Young, who owns Bark and Bubbles on 51st Street. We've got Carol Chung, who owns J Court in Harper Court. And we have Keisha Rucker, the owner of the Soul Shack on the left, and then Larissa Chandler, her neighbor, owner of I Can't Believe It's Not Meat. And all of them have joined the ranks of more established, shall we say, women business owners, such as Jane Moy, Nancy Stanek, who I don't have a photograph of, Patty Kidwell, and Joyce Fewer. But those are just a few of the snapshots of our century of progress. There's a heck of a lot more to this story, but they only gave me 5 minutes. So I'm hoping that down the road, and hopefully in person, we can do a deeper dive into our history, working with the Historical Society. But for the moment, on behalf of our Executive Director, Wallace Good, and our Board President, Troy Ratliff, and all of the members of the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce, I want to just reassert our commitment to working for businesses and working with organizations and political leaders to continue to do what we can to propel an already thriving business community ever forward as we begin the second century of progress for Hyde Park. And that's it. Now I believe we will look at some videos.
So Benny, phenomenal job, well done. 30 seconds over, you go. Let's go. Shay, we're ready to see the video.
Can I say a word? I'm so glad that Benny mentioned at the end that the Hyde Park Chamber encompasses not only businesses, but community organizations and not-for-profits.
Okay, Shay, we're ready to start the video. Say.
I'm Lala Rogers, co-chair of the Hyde Park Historical Society Oral History Committee. I would like to welcome Bill Gerstein, former owner of Mr. G's, one of Hyde Park's long-term grocery stores, who will tell us about the history of his business. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning.
Hey, Bill, first, who started Mr. G's and what year?
Mr. G's was started by my father, Julius Gerstein, in 1953. And he started it in a location that no longer exists on 53rd Street between Woodlawn and Kimbark. He took in his brother, Louis Gerstein, and they became known as G's Certified.
What were the other locations of the business?
Well, they also opened up a store in the Prairie Shores housing complex at 2911 South Vernon in the early 60s. And then they got a new location in Hyde Park at the exact same address because of the building of Kimbark Plaza.
How long were you in business?
The business started, as I said, 1953, and it was sold in 1996 to the Hyde Park Co-op.
Can you describe the business?
Yes, we were a full-service supermarket in Hyde Park that sold just about everything except for flowers, fish, and liquor. And we couldn't do that because there were other stores in our shopping center that sold those items, and it was organized as a cooperative. So we could not compete with our other co-op members. So we had Mitzi's, Jesselson's, and Kimbark Liquors in the shopping centers.
How many employees were there?
For much of the time I operated it, we had approximately 75 employees, and that included part-time baggers, cashiers, and it also included all of our full-time people.
So how did the business change over time?
Well, it didn't really change that much. I mean, we would sell new items that were being manufactured, marketed for grocery stores, but it stayed pretty steady as a store that served the community residents of Hyde Park.
So what was your clientele like?
Well, we appealed to the entire breadth of the Hyde Park community. We had everybody from Nobel Prize winning college professors, South Kenwood mansion owners, and also post office workers, teachers, people struggling to make it. We had the full range of Hyde Park residents, which, as we know, is a stable, racially mixed community.
Did you live in Hyde Park?
Yes, I moved to Hyde Park from the South Loop when I took over ownership and operation of the store in 1981. I bought a house and raised a family 2 blocks from the grocery store.
And can you tell a 1-minute story about the business that you like to share?
Yes. I'm most proud of the young people who lived in the community who I was able to give their first jobs. And many of them, if not all of them, have gone on to do great things with their lives. A few people to highlight on the highest level was, although he was hired by my uncle, Bryant Gumbel, who's still on television on HBO, but he was the host of the Today Show. His family lived in Hyde Park. But we also had a famous opera singer for the Houston Grand Opera, Nicole Easton. We had a now famous professor of education at Harvard, Khalil Gibran Muhammad. And then recently, I learned that one of our teenage employees had become the police superintendent of Oak Park, Illinois, and just got named to an important commission looking at hate crimes and racial injustice. LaDon Reynolds is his name. So there were just some of the many young people who worked for me, and I'm very proud of that.
Is there anything else you would like to add, Bill?
Yes, I would like to congratulate the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce on their 100th birthday. It's an important part of Hyde Park, and I served on their board for a number of years while I owned and operated Mr. G's. So congratulations, Chamber of Commerce.
Bill, thank you so much for spending time with us and sharing about Mr. G's today.
Thank you.
So as we queue up the next video, as we get ready for our second
Yeah, there'll be a second video.
historian who talks about a business that has extended beyond time, continues to have its presence in Hyde Park. We're going to throw that back to Shay and let it go.
Welcome to the Hyde Park Historical Society's celebration of the 100th anniversary of the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. I am Cordelia Benedict, a member of the Hyde Park Historical Society Oral History Committee, and I would like to welcome Jane Lee Moy, former owner of the Far East Kitchen, one of Hyde Park's longtime restaurants, who will tell us about the history of her business. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you very much. My name is Jane Lee Moy. My husband and I opened the Far East Kitchen in 1969. We had to move in 1986, and we moved to next to the Hyde Park Bank building. And we were there until 2005 when we sold the restaurant. Our food was Chinese and American.
I see. And how many employees did you have and who managed the business?
My husband and I took shifts, and we had also a manager, a regular manager, and we employed 12 people.
Did the business change over time? And if it did, how did it change?
It didn't change that much. Hyde Park is Hyde Park. We had students, professionals, people from South Shore, walk-ins.
And did you have a larger clientele?
Yes, we had a much larger clientele.
And did you, the owner, live in the Hyde Park community?
We've always lived in Hyde Park since I was born in 1936.
Well, we have about 1 minute left. Do you have a short story about anything with your business that you would like to share?
Well, Harold Washington used to come into our restaurant on Fridays when he came from Springfield, and he would sit at the family table and read his newspaper and then have his food. Probably Hong Kong steak was his favorite. And he would speak to my children. I have 4 children.
And did he always come to the restaurant? What about after he became mayor?
He did come to the restaurant, and we had other people coming to the restaurant like Diane Carroll, R. Kelly.
Great. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Yes, my mother's restaurant, and that was at 1200 East 55th, near the corner of Finnegan's drugstore. And we had wonderful people come there too. The Compass Players, Mike Nichols, Elaine May, Arthur Goldberg, and many others. And I want to congratulate the Hyde Park Businessmen's Association, which is now the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce, for their 100 years.
Thank you, Jane, for your interesting description of your restaurant, the Far East Kitchen.
First, oh my God, it is so exciting to hear Hyde Park, what it was, what it is, And of course, those of us currently involved in figuring out who it's going to be bring this kind of evening together. There are those of you who we did not video record your story, but also we wanted to hear a little bit about what you also have to say. So there were a couple who registered in advance who wanted to give their story. So I have two. I have that list, but I also want to know, is there anyone in particular, Lala, that we should start with? Or I'll just start at the top of the list and call those folks out. Lala, is there anyone in particular I should be reaching?
Oh, hi, Wallace, we can just start at the top of the list, and I believe the top of the list is Paula Jones. And Paula Jones, would you like to share your 2-minute story?
Absolutely. You're the timer, Lala. Go ahead,
That's right.
Paula Jones.
And Paula, I just asked you to unmute. I don't know if you see that on your end. See if I can do it for you.
Paul is a former chamber board president and facility director at St. Thomas the Apostle. If anybody knows how to unmute, it's Paula Jones. While Paula gets ready, Richard Altman, get ready. You're next on it, so Richard, but we're still waiting for Paula.
Okay.
Paula
Richard, not yet, Richard. We're waiting for Paula first.
Paula, if you're having trouble, if you want to chat me, because it looks like
Okay.
looks like she's unmuted.
Okay, so Sabrina, work with Paula and let's get Richard fired up because I can tell he's raring to go. Lala, make sure you time him because Richard will talk for days. You're on, Richard.
Well, I'm not quite sure where that reputation came from. Okay. I'm Richard Allman. From 1957 to 1970, my family owned Valois Cafeteria. They bought it initially from 2 generations of the Valois family, who had initially founded it at a different location in Hyde Park. When we bought the business, it was on the east side of Lake Park at 5307 South Lake Park, an address that doesn't exist anymore. Hyde Park Urban Renewal very much marked the time and was just a big impact and a big stress on my father, figuring out how to deal with that. Not being a political person himself, though I think observing what happened, I was pretty young at that point, but observing what happened is probably one of the things that has politicized me over the years and had me living much more of an activist life. The restaurant, the cafeteria was on the Lake Park location for 7 years, and in 1964 moved to its current location at 1518 East 53rd Street, which was a significant expansion of space. The memories I have in particular of Valois, and I live in New York now, but I get back to Hyde Park quite regularly, and or at least I was before the pandemic, and I will be back again in the next couple of weeks. But my memories are really of the crossroads of people who were there, truly people from every walk of life. And I think the conversations I had there probably impacted a lot who I became over the years. Memories in particular of people who were living in what were then the many residential hotels of Hyde Park, either with small kitchens or no kitchens at all. I see people on tonight's screens, people that I knew as fellow and sister business people in the neighborhood. There was a bank president or two there. And the years that we owned Valois were the years that more and more students were living off campus. And that was certainly a big part of the growth of the restaurant at that period of time. I love the food. It's still my model of, how to eat day-to-day food and how to keep going. And when I get back to Valois, I'm really glad to see that it's continuing in that spirit. I've missed some unique moments of history and being away from Hyde Park, and people who have identified Valois as their place to have breakfast. I'll skip names for the moment, but I suspect people might recognize those names. In general, just very warm memories, perhaps except for the toll it took on my father, but he was very engaged, very much both wanting to serve good food at a reasonable price, and was, very, in a good way, demanding of the wholesalers that he bought food from. He wanted to be able to get out to the community, get out to his customers. I don't know where else to take the story from there, but I'm glad to tell that.
Lala,
We're at time.
Lala gave you that great thumbs up saying this is time, Richard. Richard, Valois is in all of our hearts. And I can't imagine anybody on this call who has not eaten at Valois. So
I suspect that's the one last thing, if I could add.
Gotta move on, sorry.
Remember urban renewal, learn from it.
There we go. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to a video now. So let's go right in from the pre-registered speakers to Shay, who's going to bring up our video number 2 with speakers. And those speakers are going to be, I don't even know. Shay, it's all on you. There we go.
Somebody's screen is frozen.
It's frozen.
What? It was.
This afternoon, I will be interviewing Mr. Bruce Wesley. Good afternoon, Bruce.
Shay,
good afternoon, and thank you for having me. I'm honored, and congratulations to the Hyde Park Chamber on their 100th anniversary.
Excuse me.
Very much. Thank you very much. So, Bruce, tell me the name of your business and give me.
Shay, say you need to stop it and start it. The video is frozen. Kathy, I got it. Say.
More than that, we had sound from a different video and picture frozen. There are 2 different videos involved.
Say is going back and we'll start that video over.
Thank you. There's always.
Welcome to the Hyde Park Historical Society's celebration of the 100th anniversary of the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. I'm Sheila Nicholas, and I'm a member of the Hyde Park Historical Society's Oral History Committee.
We have no visuals today.
I will be interviewing Mr. Bruce Wesley.
We can. Why don't we hear a story, Wallace?
Shay, are you ready to go again? Or as Kathy said, should we go to a live person who's ready to talk, which is Howard Cohen, who's next on the list? Shay, video
just give me a minute, 1 minute. I will go.
I see Nancy, and who else is that?
I'm on it for 1 second only.
The Hyde Park Historical Society's celebration of 100th anniversary of the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. Today, Mark Mandel, me, a member of the Hyde Park Historical Society, will do an interview. I'd like to welcome Nancy Stanek, current owner of Toys R Us, one of Hyde Park's long-term toy stores, who will tell us about the history of her business. Good afternoon, Nancy.
Hi there. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Chamber on 100 years in existence. That's quite an accomplishment. And I am Nancy Stanek, sole owner, the only owner of Toys Etc. Currently, we are located at 1502 East 55th Street in the Hyde Park Shopping Center, but we've been in 2 other locations in Hyde Park, one across from our original location with a 5206 South Harper. And then we moved across, we were there 15 years, moved across the street to Harper Court for 15 years, and we've been here at the location at the Hyde Park Shopping Center for 15 years, making 45 years in business.
What's the exact name of your business?
It's Toys Etc. And we specialize in children's toys and books and games and everything pertaining to children.
And about what year was the business started?
Business was started in 1976. June 12th was the day we opened our door.
Okay, and you mentioned the Hyde Park location. Have there been other locations of the store?
Well, I've had up to 4 other locations. I've had, look, when I opened up a store in Evanston and had that for 30 years, in 1983, and we closed that in 2013. I've also had locations in Arlington Heights, which we had for about 10 years in the 80s and 90s. And in 2004, we opened up a store in Lincoln Park and just recently closed that in 2017. And likewise, I opened a store in 2006 in Andersonville in the upper north side on Clark Street, and had that until I sold it last year to another toy concern.
Can you describe exactly what the business has been about?
The business has been about exactly what it says. It's toys, toys for children, actually children of all ages, even adults. So we have from infant toys up through adult games.
And about how many employees have you had over the years, and how many are there now?
Well, currently we have 3 full-time employees. I've had years when I've had more part-time employees, and up to 6 or 7. But I found it much more reliable to have just 3 or have full-time employees, and I like to employ adults as well.
And who manages the business?
Our current manager is Dan Thomas, who is quite a game guru, and we're lucky to have him. He's been our manager for 4 years now.
And how has the business changed over time?
It's changed. Well, it's changed in terms of who we do or where we get our source our toys. Initially, we were dealing with toy distributors and some of the major mass market companies, because that's about all there was. But as the specialty toy industry has grown, we now deal with a lot of small specialty toy companies and vendors. And in terms of who we service, we service our local community, the Hyde Park community, and that, as anyone can tell, over the last 50 years has changed dramatically. And I think the biggest change has really been it's become a much more affluent neighborhood, and as the surrounding area too, which is also part of our market, has become more affluent.
Has it changed the neighborhoods or what you're dealing with?
I think the neighborhood has changed. Yes, it's become more affluent, as I had pointed out. I think in terms of it's always been a very diverse community, and so is our clientele reflects the neighborhood.
Do you live in Hyde Park, Kenwood community?
I live a couple blocks from the store. In fact, I seem to have a thing about staying on Harper. I live on Harper. I'm 2 blocks up. I'm sort of Harper's on my back door, and my other 2 locations in Hyde Park have been on Harper.
Oh, can you tell me a 1-minute story about the business you would like to share with the audience?
Well, one of my most endearing memories of the toy store has to do with Santa Claus and July. It's Christmas in July. But as we know, we all, as parents, teaching or telling your children about the story of Santa Claus, are always think that the child is, we have to manufacture all sorts of crazy scenarios so that the child will continue to believe. Well, it made me believe that that's not the way it works. It's the kid who's going to determine this. And one July, at our very first location, and which was very small, it was only 600 square feet, and we stored everything in very tight quarters. So we were storing our wrapping paper in our washroom. The little kid comes in, wants to use our bathroom, so goes into the washroom, comes out, his eyes are like big as saucers like this. He says, "Mom, I found out where Santa Claus wraps the presents." And so in his mind, Santa Claus, on Christmas Eve, parked his sleigh, by the toy store, ran in, wrapped his presents, came back up and loaded into the sleigh. But I love that story because it tells a child will believe anything and will manufacture reasons how things occur that parents would think would give the whole story away. But children are true believers.
I love it. I know Nancy well, and as I told her, we used to go there often, but our son is 23 now. But fortunately, we have an 8-month-old granddaughter, and we're already started shopping. Say, are you ready with our next person? Let me get out of here.
Afternoon, Bruce.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. I'm honored, and congratulations to the Hyde Park Chamber on their 100th anniversary.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Bruce, tell me the name of your business and give me some information about how and when it started and who started it.
The name of our business is Wesley Shoes. It was started and founded by my dad in 1970. We were originally started off in Michigan Avenue, South Michigan Avenue in Roseland area. And around 1982, we took over the existing store, which was the Shoe Corral back then. And it's now called Wesley Shoes, or some people call us Wesley Shoe Corral, or some people call us Shoe Corral, or that old store there by the post office.
Okay. And you not only sell shoes, you sell other things?
Yes, we have expanded our collection into women's apparel. We also do orthotics for shoes, and we do masks now. We do handbags, leather handbags, hosiery, and quite a few other things, but our main thing is shoes, footwear.
So I would imagine that since the time that you moved to Hyde Park till now, that you've had a good change in your clientele and then the number of employees that you have, correct?
Yeah, over the years, we always maintain a good crew. We have a lot of university students. We have some people that have been with us from over 20, 25 years. But we basically keep anywhere from 8 to 12 people, depending on the season.
So give me a little background about Wesley Shoes and when you moved there and the change of everything up to now.
Well, things have changed a lot since then, but our main thing that's consistent is that the customers then want quality shoes. So today, they still want quality shoes, quality service. We are a fit and sit store. We're not like the big box stores. We hand it on, fit people, and that's what they're looking for, service.
So you're a small store in the plaza there. So tell me about how that goes with your neighbors and.
Well, we're kind of in we appeal to people all over Hyde Park, but we also attract a lot of customers from outside of Hyde Park, and a lot of people are discovering us. And in fact, this year we were ranked number 1 in Illinois by the industry and number 13th in the country by the industry. And it was a big honor for us. That's all the retailers, and independent shoe retailers in the country. We were ranked number 13 and number 1 in Illinois.
But historically, how was it when from the time you moved in there to now?
Well, that's a whole different world. Back then, things were a lot different. There was no internet to compete against a lot of other things. It was a whole different world. But I could say one thing: we weren't really invited to come here. We had a hostile crowd when we first came here in 1982. We were these Black family from Roseland, and the merchants at the time who were here held a special meeting to block me and my dad from taking over the lease. They did not want us to come to Hyde Park, and they tried their best with the Rubloff company who was here at the time to block us out of the lease. The old owners had to co-sign for us to get in our lease. And ironically, they're all gone now. We're still here. We're the oldest African-American independent shoe retailer in the country. This is our 51st year in business.
Congratulations, congratulations. So over the time, things have changed and have gotten better.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else that you'd like to tell me about your business? I mean, you brought into a lot of information there.
Well, we're open 24/7 on our website. We do a lot of business there, but the sit and fit experience is the best. That's what people come to experience. We have a great clientele of customers, and we have a great staff who is experienced and knows how to fit shoes and properly. We have a lot of brand names that we import from all over the world, and podiatrists, chiropractors, therapists, they send customers here for comfortable shoes. So that's what we're known for.
That's all sounds very great, Bruce. I'm so glad to know that your shoe store is doing very well. I've purchased shoes there myself, and you do provide very hands-on, very personal service. And I'm sure you're very well welcomed in the area and in Hyde Park. So I'd like to thank you so much for doing this interview for us. And I wish you all the best in the future. So thank you so much, Bruce.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Bruce, of course, I so much love that he is walking distance from my heart and home, but that speaks about Hyde Park. Hyde Park is such a walkable community that these businesses are right there within our walking distance. So we have several other speakers who are scheduled who aren't on the call. Kathy, why don't I pass it on to you for a moment and decide where we go from here?
Okay. First of all, I want to say that a little piece of sound was cut off, and that was one of our oral history committee members named Sheila Nicholas. And so all of our people have introduced themselves, so that's who that was. And she joined our committee about a year ago, and we're very pleased to have so many good people. So let's go to the next person that you mentioned, Wallace, for a story.
Unfortunately, Kathy, the three people that Wallace mentioned are not on the call that I see.
Maria and Ishmael and Alice.
So none of those three people, but I was jumping ahead. Howard is on the call, and we're ready to take Howard Cohen right now. And of course, Howard, I have to tell you, I knew you before you knew me because friends of mine purchased ties from me from Cohen and Stern. It is my favorite story. I still have your ties, Howard. Turn it over to you.
I knew you were going to mention the ties, Wallace. I knew that. It's time for some new ones, okay?
But you
what there's no way I could talk about Cohen and Stern in 2 minutes. That would be an impossibility. But I will tell you a little funny thing about the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. When I first came in the business in 1972, my dad told me, come on, I'm taking you to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce meeting. It was one of the restaurants on Lakeshore Drive, one of the hotels, the Shore Drive, or I'm not sure which one. And all I remember is these guys getting up, and all they would do was drink, and then afterward they would gamble, and they would never talk about business. And my dad was really upset about that. And when he became president of the Chamber of Commerce, he said, I'm going to start, this is not the way it's going to be. We're going to help the Chamber of Commerce help the businesses in Hyde Park. So that a little bit of history that nobody really is aware of.
I love it. I love it.
And I was on the board of the Chamber for about 25 years. But when it comes to Cohen and Stern, it is very, very dear to my heart. The store opened, Eric Stern and my dad, Herman Cohen, opened the business in April of 1952, and was a very successful store. We had 2 other locations for a while, which I won't go into, but our clientele was incredibly diverse, from lower income people to higher income. People would shop with us from the suburbs, would come in, and for many, many years, it was very, very good until unfortunately it wasn't anymore. And then in 2005 is when I decided that, the men's industry had changed so drastically with the way men dress to work and such, dress casual, it just wasn't sustainable anymore. And I unfortunately closed it up. But I could write a book about some of the things that happened at Cohen Stern. But the most important thing to me, or one of the most important great memories, is when I was a child in the 1950s, the White Sox all stayed at the Sherry and the Del Prado Hotel. I believe they had the Piccadilly also. And they were all customers of Cohen and Stern. So we had all the tickets, free tickets that we wanted. And my dad and Eric attended the 1959 World Series. I was bar mitzvah in 1959. And I received at bar mitzvah gift a signed autographed baseball from Nellie Fox and Louis Aparicio. And then in our house, and my sister would certainly remember this if she has any mind left. And and we had an entire shrine to the 1959 White Sox downstairs in our basement next to the bar. And while I was in high school, we always had parties, of course. And well, one night that baseball disappeared and never to be seen again, unfortunately. So that, you know, that was a lot of our history. I could walk down 53rd Street and Louis Aparicio would see me coming down and call out my name before I could see and call his name out. So, but that's only one small part of it.
Oh my God, Howard, I love that. So on 3 levels. 1, I think we should all begin a search for that baseball. And 2, I can't believe you dogged your sister that way.
Actually, Wallace, somebody did search for the baseball on the internet when I was working at the bank. They did not find the baseball, but she found a canceled check to Cohen Stern from Nellie Fox.
Whoa.
So there you go. But when I'm interviewed about the store, I will get into more detail. But congratulations on 100 years.
That is so amazing. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next video, pre-recorded videos. Shay is ready. He's like, I'm ready, Wallace, whenever you are. So I say we pass it back to Shay. You're on.
Welcome to the Hyde Park Historical Society's celebration of the 100th anniversary of the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. Hello, I'm Gabrielle Powell, a member of the Hyde Park Historical Society Oral History Committee. I would like to welcome Joyce Foyer, former owner of Joyce's Hallmark, one of Hyde Park's long-term retail card and gift shops. And she is also currently owner of Joyce's Event and Party Planning. So Joyce will tell us about the history of Joyce's Hallmark. So good afternoon, Joyce.
Good afternoon. Thank you for asking me to do this. And the first thing I'd like to say is congratulations to the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce on 100 successful years. They have helped to make the neighborhood grow and flourish through all of the local businesses. And all of us say thank you for 100 years. On to the next 100 years. So starting in 1976, I started as a part-time person helper at Joyce. It was not Joyce's Hallmark at that point. It was Dora Lee Hallmark, and it was owned by my father, his partner Eric Stern from Cohen Stern, and a third partner as well. And these gentlemen had 3 wives, and so there were 6 partners technically, and they asked me to help begin the business. And so I did. And the next thing I knew, I had been promoted to manager after some time. And after quite some time, I was then promoted to buyer in the store. And eventually, within that 24 years of having the store, it changed from Dora Lee Hallmark to Joyce's Hallmark. And I was, in fact, a partial owner with my father at that point in time. One of the other partners had retired and moved out of state, and one of the other partners had passed away. So I was in that store 24/7. I dedicated my life to it. I brought my children up in that store, and it was a wonderful 24 years existence. The store was located in the Hyde Park Shopping Center, and first we were in one location, then they rebuilt the shopping center, and I moved to a new location in that shopping center, and it was a very successful, wonderful business in the neighborhood. We catered to the Hyde Park community, for which I have always referred to as a very small town in a very large city. Everyone knows everyone. My store very much became a hangout. People would come in after their work. A lot of teachers would come in after work to browse and buy things, and they'd run into one another and talk about decorating their classrooms with one another. And it always seemed that I was able to cater to a lot of different people, whether they were affiliated with the University of Chicago or not, whether they were just, students or Hyde Park neighborhood people. I had a very loyal customer base, and I had a very loyal employee base as well. My employees and sales associates that I would hire, and many of them ended up staying for years and years and years. I mean, up 15, 20 years for some of them. And at one point in time, I would have 15 employees, both part-time and full-time as a combination. And it was a busy place to be, and it was a fun place to be. And I know that when I sold it, I thought it would continue. It didn't continue as people would have liked, but I started a new business, but I am still in Hyde Park and loyal to Hyde Park, born and raised here. and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world.
You know, Joyce, I think for people who, like me, who weren't able to visit your shop, you know, can you tell us a little bit about how was it different than the other hallmarks around the country?
Yes, we had a personal touch to it. We have such a diverse neighborhood, and the clientele that shopped in my store was incredibly diverse. And so therefore, I had requests for a lot of different types of merchandise, not just the Hallmark brand. And so when I would see that certain items were not selling well in my store, that were Hallmark items that would sell very well in other stores, I would have to convince my salespeople from Hallmark that I don't want any more of that. And they didn't understand that. And I said, you need to spend time in my store with me. And sometimes they did. And then they began to get it. And every so often they would try and approach me and say, well, you've got 8 feet of merchandise here that is not Hallmark brand. We would really like to fill that with blah, blah, blah. And I would say, no, it's not going to happen. And bottom line is my name is on the front door, and I need to know the products that I'm carrying are retailing to my customers and filling their niche as well as paying my bills. And so until you can provide an item that brings me the dollars and cents and the joy of selling these items that these items bring me, I'm not going to replace it with something just because it has your name on it. That didn't always sit well with Hallmark, but I usually won out. And I usually went out profitably and could show them how and why. And so after them trying to help me run the store after many years, they kind of ignored me for a while because I was my own person. But making my customers happy was wonderful.
Yeah, it sounds like it really was a custom fit. You and your clients, you just were a great fit for each other. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to add?
To this day, it's 20 years later that I don't have that store, and when I'm out and about in Hyde Park, people know me from the Hallmark store. It is incredible, and I still to this day get, "We miss you, we miss you, we miss you," and it warms my heart. It really does.
Well, thank you so much for doing this oral history with us today.
My pleasure.
It is an incredible opportunity and honor to hear people like Joyce and people like Jane and people like Nancy talk about the history of Hyde Park and our business community. We are still and ready for our next speaker, and I'm so excited because we eat there all the time. Say, it's all about you.
Welcome to the Hyde Park Historical Society celebration of the 100th anniversary of the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. Hello, I'm Mika Hoffman-Zoller, member of the Hyde Park Historical Society's Oral History Committee. I would like to welcome Amr Abdullah, current owner of Cedars Mediterranean, one of Hyde Park's long-term restaurants, who will tell us about the history of his business. Good morning, Amr.
Good morning, Mika Hoffman-Zoller. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Well, can I ask you a few questions about your business? Like, what the name of your business, where is your business located, and who started Cedars?
Indeed. So first of all, congratulations to the Chamber of Commerce to 100 years. Wow. So the name of our business is Cedars Mediterranean Kitchen. We've been in Hyde Park for nearly 30 years. We started the business in November '92, technically, that's with the Secretary of State. But truth be told, this business was started in 1985 in the back stock room of a wonderful grocery store called Harper Foods by my father, Sidki Abdullah, and my mother, Basma Abdullah. Both my parents started that business.
Wonderful. How many employees do you have there now, and who's your manager?
We have 13 employees, and our manager is a wonderful man named Kenan Mufti, and I help run the business.
Yeah. How did the business change over time?
I'd say 2 big changes. Number one was for the OGs who know, we were originally on 53rd and Cornell, 1992. In 2001, we moved to the Kimbar Plaza to get more into the mix of everything. So that was a big change about 20 years ago. A second big change is, God rest his soul, my father passed away 2 years ago. In May of 2019, I took over the business, brought on a wonderful chef, Chef Amado Lopez, trained under the likes of Charlie Trotter, Rick Bayless, and he's done some really cool things with our Mediterranean menu.
Great. What is your clientele like? Or has your clientele changed over time?
No, I wouldn't say it has. We brag and we love the fact that our restaurant draws people from all walks of life. I'd say probably a third of our guests are directly linked to the University of Chicago. We do a lot of catering with the University of Chicago. They're our number one catering customer. We love serving them large amounts of food each year. But you know, our kind of bread and butter, our day to day is our dining guests and our takeout guests. We draw probably 2/3 of our guests from the South Shore, Bronzeville, and Hyde Park community, Kenwood. So yeah, we kind of have a nice mix, 2/3 kind of local and 1/3 of the University of Chicago community.
Nice, very nice. Do you live in Hyde Park or the Kenwood community?
I used to. I lived here from 98 to 2002. Go Maroons! You won't hear that every day. Yeah, but no, now I live in the west suburbs, so I'm not currently a resident of the community.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add, or do you have like a 1-minute story you'd like to share with us about your business?
I thought long and hard about this, Mika. So many stories that I'd love to brag about, from dignitaries that have come and sat and dined with us, to movies or television shows that have wanted to film or have filmed in our restaurant. I think a couple of the coolest things I thought of were how this restaurant started out. Like I mentioned and alluded to earlier, the restaurant itself began in the back stock room of Harper Foods. My father wanted to bring falafel to Hyde Park, maybe even Chicago. In 1985, I don't think there was many people selling falafel.
Exactly.
And, we're Palestinian. We don't really follow too many rules. So maybe today we have like automatic fryers, extinguishing systems, ventilation hoods. Back then, my dad grabbed a wok, a campfire stove, open lit, poured a bunch of oil in there, and just started making falafel while he sat on a milk crate. And if memory serves, from when I was 7 years old, he had a lit Marlboro in his mouth. Even at 7 years old, I knew that wasn't safe. And he just started making falafel. And they sold like hotcakes for many years until at some point he's just like, I got to open up a restaurant. And, it took off from there, obviously. So that's one fun story. And of course, as you can imagine, all sorts of great stories come with that, like fire department shutting him down and him coming up with wackier ideas on how to make falafel. But I think that the best thing about it is really to celebrate the Chamber of Commerce and how they've helped make Hyde Park how special of a place it is. I've been around the world, Mika. I've been to Mecca, Saudi Arabia multiple times for a pilgrimage. I've been to Jerusalem. Hyde Park, in some ways, reminds me of those two very, very special places. People from all walks of life will come to Mecca for their pilgrimage. People from Africa, Asia, all over the world. And we all come together for one purpose, and we all do it in a loving way. And same thing with Jerusalem. You've got synagogues, mosques, churches, Moses, Jesus, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon all of them, all walk these walks. I feel like Hyde Park, we all come together from all walks of life with mosques, synagogues, and churches. And how special of a place it is that we all get to be in Hyde Park, and how special and lucky we are as Cedars to be able to serve all those people from those walks of life. Congratulations to Hyde Park, Chamber of Commerce, 100 years. Here's to another 100 years.
Yeah, here's to another 100 years. Amr, thank you so much for sharing your story. And congratulations to you for having a business that's been in your family for a long time. You are definitely an asset to the Hyde Park community, the South Side, actually. Thank you so much, and congratulations to the Chamber of Commerce.
Wow is all I can say. This is when there is an advantage to being dark complected. Otherwise, I'd be beet red with embarrassment by all the incredible, great things people are saying about the Chamber. I'm a new kid. I've only been here 10 years in an organization that's 100 years plus old. So I've only been at the helm the last few years. But when I hear people like Amr, when I hear people like Jane Moy and Joyce talking about the long history, when I know Billy Gerstein and his history, and I know Nancy and the 4th of July parade, I cannot tell you how honored I am to be at the helm of the Chamber. There are still people in the community who want to tell their stories, and we have one more person who pre-registered. I've been sending Rayne a text message saying, are you ready to go? So Rayne, are you ready to tell your story? Okay.
Alice, how do you spell Rayne's name? I can't find them.
What about Alice Smith Jones?
Well, all right, before we go to Alice, Alice is next on the list. If there's no Regine, we're ready to move on to Alice. Regine going one.
Regine, I'm asking you to unmute. I don't know if you can see that. Okay.
Going twice.
I'm seeing the unmute prompt now. I have no story. I just wanted to join and absorb the knowledge. I am an alum of the college. I came to campus in '99, graduated in 2003, and have been a part of the staff community since. So I am getting all of this goodness from all of you that have been a part of the community for such a long time. So no story from me. That's a snapshot of my short history with Hyde Park.
And Regine, of course, I remember you from the days that I worked at the university.
That's right.
The impact that you had. So I'm excited that you were even willing to share that aspect of who you are. We have another person who signed up, Alice Smith Jones. Are you ready to tell us your story, Alice?
Is Paula Jones also available?
Paula, I do not see Paula here, and I also do not see Alice unless you all are under a different name. I do see Ishmael though. They were just under Hyde Park Hair Salon.
Okay, good. Let's hear from Ishmael.
Okay. Absolutely.
Ishmael, I just went to ask you to unmute. If you, yep,
Okay.
good.
Sorry. All right. Good evening. Hello? I can't hear anything now. Let me see.
Ishmael, we can hear you. Are you
okay?
Thank you,
All right.
brother.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. And congratulations, Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce on 100 years. Okay.
Excellent. So Ishmael, how long have you been doing business in Hyde Park?
Well, I've been doing business since 2002 as a business owner, but I've been doing my craft since 1992.
And could you tell us what your business is, please?
My business is Hyde Park Hair Salon, established in 1927.
Wow.
It was a part of an entrance to the Hyde Park Theater, and they carved out a space to make it into a barbershop in 1927. And in I want to say around 65, it became Hyde Park Hair Salon. And it's been that ever since.
We don't know that story, and I need to come down and sit, and Kathy needs to come down and sit, and we need to collect that story and tell your story in a.
You certainly need to see me, sir.
I do. Wait. Why do you go there?
Wallace, Lala and I have made up a huge list. By the way, we have a list of 40 or more people, but we're going to be interviewed longer interviews.
Okay, but let me tell you, I know you got the interesting story. So President Obama was our client. So he became president, but he was a 20-year client, a little more than 20. He was a client of the shop since 1987. And we seen him grow from just a regular guy coming into the shop, general Hyde Park person, we don't know who they are, just a very variety of people that come through the door. But he became, we seen him go from a senator to, president of the United States. So that was just a phenomenon to see all the steps and process that went on through it. We had the whole world come to our shop as he was growing and becoming into, the next US president, which was just insane to see.
I think we are all blessed to be in Hyde Park at a time that a historic world leader was our neighbor, walking down our streets, operating and utilizing our businesses. And we are all blessed to have touched.
And just a regular true Hyde Parker like me and you coming through the door.
And we will add you to our list for longer oral histories that we do.
Oh, that'd be great. That would be great.
We have one more person, and and Sarah has identified that she would like to tell a story. We only have a couple of more minutes. So can we go ahead, Kathy, and get Sarah Dewan to tell her 2-minute story?
I know Sarah, and would definitely have a good story to tell.
Sarah, you're on.
Okay, I'm ready. So congratulations to the Chamber for 100 years. That's amazing and impressive. And the neighborhood club that I'll tell the story about is very proud to be a member of the Chamber. So I heard this story actually from Mary Duplain, but I love it because it has to do with so many businesses in the area. As many of you know, the neighborhood club has hosted pancake breakfasts for decades. It was actually started in 1964, according to Mary, to help raise money for a program we had supporting after school kids to do their homework upstairs from a liquor store that was located on 55th Street between Kenwood and Kimbark prior to urban renewal reaching that particular block. So the tutors knew that the storefront was soon to be torn down because of urban renewal and wanted to move their activity into the neighborhood club. To do so, they needed to raise some money. So they decided to put on a pancake breakfast. And at this pancake breakfast, what they did is they went around from business to business asking for ingredients for making the pancakes. So I'll go to one business and ask them for the eggs, another one for the flour, another one for the syrup, another for the butter, and so on. Some private individuals donated too. Gradually, I believe in their conversations with Mr. G's, G's ended up taking over sponsorship of pancake breakfast, which was fabulous for everybody involved. And they donated all of the foodstuffs for the pancakes. And that went on for many, many years that Mr. G's was feeding the whole community at our pancake breakfast. When Mr. G's went out of business, the co-op took over and sponsored all of the food at pancake breakfast. And when we lost the co-op, then Hyde Park Produce took over. So we just want to say thank you so much to these members of the Chamber that have made this event possible and made it possible for us to host so many community members within our doors. And Neighborhood Club is actually 111 years old. So we hope the Chamber can catch up.
Well, you count years like my mom would count years. I don't know how we catch up with you.
I don't know.
11 more years, but we are excited. I remember, of course, when you first came on as the executive director, and Wendy and I took you out for lunch as executive directors and say, welcome to Hyde Park's social network. So welcome. Yeah. And that's a great story that I will pass on. Folks, okay. We're supposed to end right now, but I'm reaching and asking my partners if we can do one last one. Peter McCarthy has asked if he can tell a story. And anyone who knows Peter knows that he has stories. So I'm going to say, let's add one more and let's end with Peter. Peter, it's all about you.
Hey guys, well, congratulations to the Chamber, of course, and congratulations, Sarah. You don't look a day over 109.
Well, yeah, I'm not in charge anymore.
I've been in business here, and as fourth generation electrician, my great grandfather came down to work came from Canada because they weren't letting any more Irish into America, to work on the World's Fair in 1892. And he worked for the Canadian version of Western Union. So he knew how to tie wires and splice wires together. And anyway, he did it. My great grandfather did it. And my grandfather was one of the biggest contractors. He dragged my dad into it. And my dad dragged me into it after I dropped out of college. So, and I know how to put wires together. I've always worked in old buildings, so I've usually had a lot of business. But here's the story. I joined the Chamber of Commerce just to feel like a grown-up at one point. And I every year I would come to the dinner, the big dinner. It was over there at, wherever the place was over there. And I had a daughter named Sarah, and I still have her, as a matter of fact. And she was growing over the years. And when she reached that like 10, 11, 12 time of age where, girls like to wear their pretty dresses and so forth. So for a few years there, I talked her to being my date, and we'd go together. And it was so much fun. I'd wear my suit once a year, and she'd wear her Easter dress or whatever. And there was one year where we were at the chamber dinner, and we could not win anything. And I think we were sitting, I don't know, Peter Castle was there, and our friends from down the street were winning every time you turn around. You know who I'm talking about, but I can't think of their name right now. So we came to the end of the thing, and there was the grant. One of the most desirable things was someone had. I think it might have been that time that Mike McGuire retired from the Supreme Jewelers. But if it was him or a different jeweler, they had donated a set of diamond earrings, like retail value of $1,200 or whatever it was. And this was the last drawing. And I said, Sarah, we haven't won anything yet, but we'll never win that. We'll never win that. And so they start reading the numbers, and I'm looking at it in my hand. I'm like, 1, 2, 7, 4, 3. Sarah, we won! So she was so thrilled, and I remember, like, she was 11 or 10 or something like that, and all these covetous ladies in the business area were trying to get the diamond earrings. And when Sarah won it, it was just such a cute moment that she got to go up there and get them with me, and it was really a fun time. So I always have fun at the chamber stuff, and I wish that I could come to more. That's my story.
Peter, we absolutely tell that story also, because Sarah is one of our favorite bands. So thank you for sharing that. Folks, we're about to head out, but I'm going to throw this back to Kathy and Lala to bring it to close, and then I'll say that final good night. I just want to remind folks and let folks know that this partnership with the Hyde Park Historical Society and the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce goes back a long time, and it's just warming up again. So Kathy, let me throw it back to you.
Well, I want to thank everybody who has attended. This has been a great session. We had quite a few people. I've enjoyed the stories. We've all enjoyed everybody's personal stories. And I want to thank my committee. They've done a fabulous job of interviewing the 6 people. We only wish there was time in this program to interview more, but this has opened up a great opportunity for us to do it again. So we have more people on our list to interview, and our stories are our older oral histories are in the Special Collections Research Center at the University of Chicago Library in the Hyde Park Historical Society archive. So they're accessible. Our future ones are being transcribed and will also go in there. But we have 30 in the can that we videoed so far. And
I want to give a quick shout out. The Chamber is going back to live activities. So on July 1st, we are hoping to host our first Chamber check-in live. Mac Properties has agreed to provide and be the host for our July 1st Chamber check-in at the Regents Park rooftop.
Right.
So put that down, July 1st. There's no reason why you folks should not come to that first wonderful event hosting live back chamber check-ins. We are also going ahead and beginning our coffee chats again with Hyde Park Bank, Bank Financial, and the United Credit Union. I haven't asked them yet, but I'm going to ask Benny Curry with MBC Financial Solutions to moderate that. I think that would be a great way to bring the financial community together. And last but not least, Summerfest, Hyde Park Summerfest is back on the table. September 11th and 12th, the Hyde Park Summerfest will be hopefully, I can't guarantee it yet because we haven't gotten the okay, but hopefully we'll be doing a Summerfest Music Fest the weekend of September 11th and 12th. Pencil it in.
All right.
Kathy, Paula, Janice, Troy, you guys rock. And if there's no further comments, look forward to the next one. At the High Point, we had 64 people who were on this call with 95 people who registered. Thank you all.
All
Thank
right.
you, thank you, thank you. Sabrina, Zoom Master. Say, Zoom Master. Benny, Zoom Master. You know we wouldn't be able to do this without those folks. And last but not least, I've said it, but I'll say it again. Kathy, the Chamber loves working with you. Lala, you guys rock. Thank you very, very much.
The Chamber, we have a ball with the Chamber, and we're going to continue this. And you've, as I said earlier, all of these folks who are sharing their stories, they'll be on our list to interview in longer interviews. So thank you all so much, and congratulations to the Chamber.
Thank you very much. Sabrina, good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Benny, good seeing you, man.
All right, same here.